Welcome back to Awakening the Inner Avatar. Today's story is about the lessons that come when we try to rush growth about power, patience, and the deeper strength of humility. This is The Deserter, a story of realizing the true timing of our journey and the healing power we often overlook inside ourselves. The episode opens with Aang, Katara, and Sokka wandering through unfamiliar woods. They find themselves near a Fire Nation festival, and even though it's risky, they decide to blend in. But there's always a deeper lesson when we try to hide from ourselves. At the festival, Aang can't help but reveal who he is when Katara is in danger. And though this act of kindness gives him away, it also connects them with Che, a former Fire Nation soldier who deserted his post. Through Che, Aang hears about Zhong, the first person to leave the Fire Nation army, a master firebender, and someone living away from the world's madness. And for Aang, this feels like a door opening. But not all doors are meant to be walked through. Yet, Aang pushes to meet Zhong, desperate to learn firebending. Zhong refuses, pointing out Aang hasn't even mastered water or earth yet. Zhong calls out something many of us need to hear. Without discipline, patience, and inner readiness, power becomes destruction. But Aang doesn't listen, and when forced by Avatar Roku's presence, Zhong agrees to teach Aang. Aang rushes into training. He skips the foundations, and in his excitement, he burns Katara. In that moment, Aang realizes the danger of unchecked desire. Power without mastery always leaves scars, especially on those we care about. While Aang feels crushed by guilt, Katara discovers something beautiful. Her waterbending heals. The cool, flowing nature of water brings restoration, not destruction. Zhong recognizes her rare gift, and this episode gently teaches us that sometimes the healing path reveals itself only after a painful lesson. Meanwhile, Zhao, once Zhong's student, arrives to capture Aang. But Aang no longer chases firebending. He uses cleverness, not force, to escape. In the end, Aang vows never to firebend again until the time is right. And Katara heals his burns with the same water that always flows within her. Sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to wait. Let's take a pause, a breath, soft, gentle, steady. This episode reminds us Zhang warned Aang, and still Aang had to learn the hard way. In life, we're often tempted to skip the process, but growth honors order. Where in life am I rushing? Where can I root into patience? Katara's waterbending reveals itself fully when she listens inwardly. You, too, carry healing gifts, sometimes hidden until needed. Now repeat to yourself, my healing is already within me, waiting to flow. Aang chose not to force his way forward. He chose to pause, to respect the journey. Where can I honor my pace, my process, and let things unfold naturally? The deserter shows us that the road to mastery isn't about rushing ahead. It's about listening, respecting the flow, and allowing ourselves to grow through gentleness. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, walk gently, flow wisely, and remember, you are both student and healer. This is Awakening the Inner Avatar. This podcast is a fan-created project intended for educational and spiritual reflection. All clips, references, and content related to Avatar, The Last Airbender, Star Wars, Rebels, and other media are used under fair use for commentary, analysis, and transformative discussion. All rights to original shows, characters, and music belong to their respective creators and copyright holders.